Welcome back, my dear students. So, on this new section, I have created a lot of dummy data. So I went ahead and created 100 posts, 101 now to be exact, but 100 posts, as you can see here. We have a lot of posts. Now, if you try to do this with Faker and you get some type of error of duplicate key, remember to go to your Mongo shell, and that's exactly what I did here. I went Mongo, then of course use CMS, and then db post dot drop, and I dropped everything. Okay, and then I did 100 posts. I logged in, and I said I want 100 posts like this. Okay, now this gave me an error here, and that's because, let's see, we get this duplicate key. Let me tell you what this duplicate key is. We have this data. It creates the record, but we have this slug data that it doesn't get inserted when we are doing the Faker. So let's correct that real quick. Let's go to Faker. Let's go to that route that does that. So routes admin, where's index, and then we have this body, and then we can say post.slug, and we can just create whatever there. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now we shouldn't have that issue there. Let's go back here and we can see that we have no errors right now. Let's create another 200 posts, or let's create another 100. Generate data, come back here, and you can see we don't have that issue there. Okay, so make sure that whatever fields you want to automatically generate, you have it here available in your Faker. Okay, functionality. So that's why. But now, as you can see, we have a lot of data. And if we go to the front page, this is crazy here. Okay, we don't have pagination, and it would be nice to have a pagination that would give us 10 sets in one page and 10 sets in the other one, or 20 sets, whatever sets we want, right? So here's how we're going to do it. Let's go to our index, and here in our index, home index, right here. No, actually, sorry. Home index right here. This is the pagination that we want. And we need to create a dynamically generated list item. Okay? That's what we need, because these are going to be our links, and our links need to have some type of data coming from the results in the database, right? What we're going to be writing in our routes. So this is really an issue if we are going to be creating this using handlebars. With handlebars, the best thing to do would be to take this to a helper function. That's exactly what we are going to be doing. So I'm going to go and comment this out, and we're going to create a helper function. Let's go to our helpers, handlebar helpers, and here I'm going to create a helper function called Paginate. And options, and I already explained this to you what the option is, so I'm not going to go over it. You can go and look at the section where we create this functionality here. We are status and all that. Select and look at it. Okay, remember that now that we have function, let's do a console.log here, and I will show you something real quick. I'm just gonna leave this here, and then later on we'll do a console for this. So now let's go to our admin, our home route index, and this is exactly where we want to start getting data from the, to modify. So let's go back to our index real quick here, and actually before we do that, let's go back to our app.js and register this function, paginate right here. You guys should be experts on this stuff already, and paginate here. Okay, and now let's go back to our view index or index view, and now here we are going to be using our function. It's going to be called paginate. and we're gonna be passing some parameters here. Okay, so we can pass some parameters right now. Let's call this current equals 1. Okay, let's close this like this. We don't need this. Actually, we do need that. Okay, and all right, so now if we go to test this, okay, let's make sure that we are returning. Well, console.log doesn't need to, we don't need to return it. We got to see something here in the console. So right now, if we go to our home page and we refresh here, so refresh, we're gonna see this log right here. Okay, this options object is gonna have everything we need. Okay, and I showed you this before, and you can see current is equal to 1. So we created this variable right here called current. This is a handlebars type of variable. Okay, and it's inside this object called hash. So we can go here and we can say options dot hash dot current, and now we can spit out the value of that. Okay, refresh, and you can see the value is number 1, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Okay, we are going to be getting the values that we have in our view, and those values are coming from what we have in our routes. Okay, values from here. So in the next lecture, we're going to continue this, and I'm going to keep explaining to you, and we're going to build this pagination in no time. Guys, let's have some fun. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back, my dear students. So I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of explanation, but you guys know that I repeat myself a lot. And the reason I do that is because this is a beginner's course. I know there are some seasoned developers out there. You guys know what you're doing, but this is a beginner's course. Even though we have some advanced features, I also have to, let my beginners know about this stuff. Okay, so anyway, so we are getting our handlebars function is working. We're getting some data, but we don't have the data that we need, and that's what we're gonna be doing here. So I'm gonna be showing you how to do some kind of limitations or some new features with our database, right? So I want to first build a variable here called per page, and this is going to be how many records we want per page. I also want to build a page to detect some type of query in a request. So we're going to send a link, and let me tell you the object. It's going to be query, and then we're going to have a property called page. And if it's not the page, we want to do this trick and make sure that it is page number 1. So when we create a link, and this is how the link is going to be constructed, it's going to have this question mark and then the name page, which is going to be this guy right here, and separated by the value. Okay, so this equal symbol and then the value. This is just like sending a normal GET request using a link, right? And how do we get this query? By doing this. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going to create a link that's going to have that information. And in some cases, this is going to be dynamic. So we're going to have like some type of variable in here when we send that request. Okay, and depending on what we get here, our query is going to spit out different information. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do here is I want to make a skip. Now, I'm not creating this from scratch. This is actually provided to us already. So we have this skip method that we can use, and I want to do per page times the page, okay, minus the per page is going to give me what I want to skip on every request. Now I want to execute this before, so I'm going to put this in a parenthesis like this. Simple. Okay, and make sure you have this dot right here. Let's do another one. Let's do a limit, because we want to limit what we get on each page, and we want to limit the per page. That's going to be our limit, and that's it. That's what we're going to be doing there. Now we need to create another query to our database here. We want to get the count of our posts. Very important. Okay, so this is how you get it. Post count, and now we're gonna just put everything inside there. Bang. And let's separate this just so it looks a little bit more organized, like this. So we have our categories that we want in the home page, but we also want our current page, which is going to be the page, right? But I want to do something a little bit different here. I want to make sure that this is parsed as an integer. So I'm going to enclose it in that function, JavaScript function. And then we also want our pages. Okay, and I'm going to use a JavaScript again. I love using JavaScript. And we're going to round up the post count divided by the per page, and that is going to give us the pages. Okay, it could be 90 pages, 100 pages, whatever, right? So if our post count is 100 divided by the per page is going to give us the page that we need. Let's take this out. So per page can be 10 divided by, let's say, 100. You get the, you do the math there. 90, 100 divided by 10. Okay, so good stuff. Now that we have our functionality here, we need to start working on the helper function that we are going to be building, because like we said before, and if I haven't said this, I'm saying it now. We're going to build this list items dynamically from a helper function using handlebars, just because it's this functionality that I'm going to create here is almost impossible to create using just the handlebars in the front of the code. We need some features that we have in the back to do, to use. Okay. So on the next lecture, we're gonna start that, and it's gonna be really fun. And I'll see you then, guys. All right, welcome, my dear students. So are you guys ready? Let's do this. So now that we have our handlebars function, taking some data, we need to give it some type of dynamic data, right? So we gave it some static data here, but we need to actually give it the current variable that we are getting from our, what is it? Our route right here. We have this current variable. You can check on that if you like. You can do a console.log and make sure that this is actually working, because if it's not working, then you will not get the desired results. Okay, so before you render anything here, if you want to go ahead but remember that the current is the page. So you can console log the page right here before the render, console log pages, and so on, okay? And test it out. I'm not going to do that because I know mine are working. I also want a variable called pages to be equal to pages from here, okay? Simple as that. Now we have that dynamic data in our helper function. We need to start using it, okay? We're passing that data right here, okay? So let's start working with this. So we're gonna have to create a couple different if statements to make this work. The first thing is that I want to create some type of variable to build our list items string. We're gonna build this, dynamic data, and we need some type of string, okay? So let's use a variable. I'm gonna use let, because I usually don't use it much since I use const a lot. I'm gonna use let. That's the declaration for variables in the new version of JavaScript. And I'm going to play around with some if statements here. I want you to pay attention to this. You're not gonna understand this 100% the first time we build this pagination, but later on, once we build it, you will start to see how this is put together. So I'm going to check to see if the current page is equal to 1. If it is, I want to output something. And what I want to output, if I can spell this correctly, that would be nice. I want to concatenate or put together some data here. You see, we're going to do this plus equal sign because at the end, we want to return output. Output like this. Okay, so what I want to build here, remember this is a list item, and this is going to have a link inside here, and this link is this one here. I don't want it to say anything because this is going to be a first page. I'm just gonna say first, like this. Okay, and let's give it a class of page item, and I'm gonna give this a class too of page link, right here, page link. Okay, else we're gonna do something very similar. Actually, on this one here, we're gonna put disable. I want to make sure it's disabled. Remember, these are bootstrap classes and everything is already made created for us, guys. So don't worry about it too much. This one is not going to be disabled because this is going to be our link. And this has a label here. We're going to send a query. Okay. Remember the query? Question mark page equals 1 in this case. Okay. That's going to be the parameter we're going to send in. Let's check this out. I'm going to comment this out right here. And let's go and see our application. Refresh. Hopefully it works. And you can see that it says first. Good job. Okay. So if I send a parameter here that says page equals 1, and I go all the way to the bottom, we still got the same thing here. Cool. So let's come back here. Let's double check this is good. Okay. So if it's equal, page is equal to 1. Let's go to the link, our helper function. And okay, that looks good. This is disable page item. All right, everything looks good. Everything starts to look good right now. Okay. Perfect. And we are returning that paginate. Let's go back here and make sure that our query page is good. Post find, skip per page. Limit, then we get a post. Oh, I'm missing something here. I knew that, no, actually, no, we're good here. Post, parse end, categories current, per page. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, I was just making sure that I wasn't missing anything there, especially the query here. Okay, good. See you in the next lecture, guys. Welcome, my dear students. So it's time for us to start creating some more data here, so that way we can keep building our output. Right now, the first thing, we got our page, so we are detecting our first page. Now we need to start getting into more advanced functionality. Okay, so just hang tight with me. We're gonna build a functionality now where we can create the rest of the links. We need the first page. We need some little dots that I want to create, and you're gonna see how this takes place. Okay, so we're gonna create this variable called I, and we're gonna do some ternary functionality here. Instead of doing if statements, we want to do some ternary. So I'm gonna use this number function just to make sure that whatever I got here is a number. This is just making sure that we have a number as a current page. And I'm gonna say, if this is bigger than 5, I'm gonna use that again. Do options, hash dot current is -4, and we're gonna see that later why this is. And if anything else, we just say it's gonna be equal to 1. Now let's enclose this in a let's see where we got this one here, one right here. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna get the return value as this. If it's greater than 5, if the current page is greater than 5, we're gonna get that value here. If not, we're gonna get this value, right? So we're gonna use that I right now to say if I is not equal to 1, okay, then we're gonna output some links, and not links but little dots I want to output. So I'm just gonna make some little dots right here. I'm going to take this href because I don't need it, I just need that. Okay, let's see if we get those dots. Let's see. All right, let's come back here. If it's not equal to 1, so if it's equal to page number 2, well, we got the link here, so that's working. Let's make sure that this is disabled. Page item disable. Okay, and page link is going to be some couple of dots. Okay, numbers options has current is greater than 5. Okay, just making sure that this is all right. Let's do an else statement. No, we don't actually need that. Let's build a loop actually. Let's double check this again. Make sure that this is working. And we click on it and this. Okay, perfect. So that's working like we want to. Okay, now let's build a for loop here. And let's see how we can do this. So I don't want to actually write I don't want to initiate a variable here. That's why I'm going to put a semicolon to make this kind of optional. And I'm going to do I, as long as I is smaller or equal than, let's just take one of these guys here. And then we're just going to put 4 here. Okay. And let's say end. This actually, I'm going to put another value here. And I is options that hash that pages. Okay, then we want to iterate, well, we want to increment I. Okay, and you're gonna see what this is gonna do right now. So this is how we're gonna create some of this functionality here. So what I want to do is I want to create a first link. Okay, and we can do this by doing something like this. I equals, why do I keep, gosh, sorry about that, guys. I need my coffee. I even forgot the code that I was writing because this is kind of long. All right. So if I is our current page, we want to display the link, right? The number. So let's do this real quick here. I think I might be making a mistake. We're going to see this later, guys. Now you might be asking, why doesn't he use some other code? Sometimes I like to do it like this because it just helps me. And if I make a mistake, it helps you see it as well, okay? So this is going to be our link, and you're going to see where this is going to show now, if it's the first page. We want the link to be active, and we want the dynamic data to show, okay? So let's refresh this, and you're going to see that there, okay? So this is starting to take form now, okay? So if I do number 2, you can see now that this is active, meaning that it's not on first page now. So you can go to first page, and now it's disabled. Okay, you see how this is starting to take form? Okay. And let's do the else statement later. I think this functionality here should get you up and running by understanding how it works, okay? So this is not clickable yet, that's okay. Okay. We'll make it clickable, but let's go number 2. I want you to analyze our code to see how that's going, okay? Pretty cool stuff. I think we're missing a little piece there, but we'll make it later on. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lecture, guys. Don't overthink it too much. We're going to go over it later. but let's just keep building it. See you there. Bye-bye. Now we're making good progress. What if we had a link that was actually bigger than 2? What is that going to do? What about bigger than, what about 10? Okay, we still don't, with, you see that? That is going to show our dots here. Now, what about 6? And this is the reason why I'm showing you this right now. You see, we still see the dot, right? But 5, we don't see the dot, right? This is that functionality right here. And I wanted to go, this is the functionality where we go over 5. Where is it? Right here. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. Okay. That's what the I is equal. Over 5, then we start showing the dot. Okay. And that's what this is going to have as a return value. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand what that was going to do right here. Okay. Remember that I right now would be equal to this, whatever value this is bringing. So anyway, let's continue with this. So we have this for loop. Now we got to create this else statement. And let's output here. If it's not, I is not equal to the first page, then it has to be equal to more links or something like that, right? So let's make sure that this has a link, href and page. We're gonna send that with some dynamic data. I always get confused. I'm thinking I'm doing the handlebars, and it's the dynamic variables here for this. Okay, so that's going to be, and this doesn't have to be active. Okay, perfect stuff. There we go. Now we got the links. You see that? Okay, perfect. Perfect, 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 guys. We're getting somewhere. So this is looking pretty nice. So now we need to get those dots, but we needed to get those dots later. Right now we got the dots. If we keep going to number 8, we get the dots right there. Okay. 11. Okay. There. Pretty cool stuff. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, let's wait. I was going to put the dots at the end. Maybe if we go to the end of the page. But let's actually go and create some more functionalities that I want besides the, we're going to put a little comment here. Maybe the dots again. This is another functionality that I thought about it. I'm just going to leave this in the burner there, and let's focus on the last pages. Okay. So we got to get out of this loop to be on the last pages. So I want to create a link that's going to give me the last page, because right now we got the first page, but we don't have a last page here. Okay, that would be nice. So let's say if options dot hash current is equal to options dot hash pages, which is the total of all the pages, right? Then we are at the end somehow, right? And we need to output that link. So let's go and put that there. And this is just going to have, we're not even going to have a ref there because it's going to be the last page. And we're just going to say last. Okay, just like that. And else, then we're not at the end of the page, and we can just click on it and it would take us to the last page. So instead of having the I here, we can have options dot hash dot pages like that. And here, of course, we just say last to give it some type of clickable word. Okay, and let's make sure here is disabled. All right, I think we are almost done. Yeah, let's check it out, and voila. So when we are at the last page, we still have those little dots, but it would be nice to have Yeah, that's okay. Pretty cool, guys. I think we're done with this. If anything, we'll add some more features on the next lecture that I was thinking about. But as you can see, we have a pretty cool navigation created with Node.js from scratch. Well, using handlebars, of course, and pretty cool stuff. Look at that. We go to the last page, and nice. Guys, if this course does not deserve a 5-star, let me know. Okay, this is a functionality that is very hard to do, and we have done it, and I think you understand it very clearly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next lecture, guys. Good job. Welcome back, my dear students. So I decided to add these little dots that I was thinking about here, where I made the comment here, because right here before we end the for loop here, we could add some dots at the end of our links here before the last pages. The reason why we can add those dots, because we didn't right here at first, but we like to show the user that we have more pages. So this little dot shows the user, hey, listen, there are more pages out there, so you can keep going. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's create these dots right here. So this is gonna be very similar to the one we have here. Actually, the only similar thing would be the link. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy it. Well, let's go ahead and create this real quick. So I'm gonna do this one if I is equal that number. Let's use that function. Let's do the hash dot current, and we are going to be saying, hey, listen, we're gonna add 4 to it, because we have to do the opposite of this in a way. And we're gonna say if this is smaller than options.pages, because we want to make sure that it is before the last pages. Okay, and we are going to be, let's use this, see if that works for us. Okay, so if I is equal to the current page, okay, plus 4, okay, type of going the opposite of what we have here. See that? And we want to say when I is smaller than the last pages, or the pages, we're gonna do that. Let's see if this works. Okay, it should work. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bang, we display it right here. So that's it for our navigation. There's nothing else we got to do to it. I think we have done a pretty good job. And again, this is in the reference files. If you for some reason cannot get it, okay, I suggest to write some comments on what you're doing. That will help you get things good. Okay, perfect. It's a lot of code, I know, but it's worth it. Now you can, once you do this and you have everything, you can refactor this and make this a lot smaller than all these lines. Okay, look at this. Just organize your code, guys. Organize it however you want. Make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be, and you can just make it nice and pretty however you want. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being in this section here, taking the course with me as well. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. I want to really, really thank you for all the nice reviews that some of you give me all the time. You're welcome to keep making requests on this course, and I'll look at the request, see if it can be done, and or when can I do it, and I will try to please you guys. I would not please everybody, but I will try my best. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next sections or the next courses, guys. Take care.